Hey guys, welcome on in. It's a Photoshop tutorial with Mr. Kern again. In fact, this is probably your first one that you might be seeing as part of my DigiPhoto 2 class. We're doing a little bit of review on some Photoshop, some tips, I guess, some ways to actually start editing your photos. So those of you who have never used Photoshop before, this is really for you. For those of you who have used Photoshop before, this might be a little bit more of a review. So here, let's go ahead and get into it. So I have this photo here. This is a photo, my son and my daughter and their cousin at the beach. And what we want to do is we want to edit this photo. Now, obviously, unless you're looking at it completely upside down, we got to first figure out the rotation on this. So if you have a photo that shows up like this is how you fix it. We go up to image. We're going to go to image rotation right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to flip it 180. So 180 is going to be completely upside down. If we need to flip it 90 and then another 90, we could do that. But 180, I know, is completely upside down. So I'm going to flip it because occasionally when we're playing with our cameras, we'll get it upside down. We'll get it sideways when we really want it straight up and down. Or maybe Bridge or whatever photo import system that you have. It's flipping photos all over the place. But anyway, this is what we're looking for. Now I'm looking at this photo, and the next thing I need to do, I need to do a little bit more fine tuning as far as the rotation of it. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to go to my crop tool. You'll see it over here on the left-hand side. Looks like two angles kind of conjoining there. So it's our crop tool. We're going to hit that. It's a fifth tool down. And when you hit the crop tool, obviously, what you may remember from the crop tool is you can just grab the corners and bring them on in. And we might do with that a little bit later. I have my rules of third grid on here. If I want to change that, I can go to this little mesh tool up top, click and hold. We can do a grid, diagonal, triangle, golden ratio, golden spiral, all kinds of artsy stuff. But we're going to stick with rule of thirds for now. Okay. Now, like I said, my horizon line is a little bit off center, and you can see that here with the horizon on the ocean. Now, if I grab this tool right here, it's to the left of straighten, okay? It's kind of like a Crayola crayon with a dotted arc coming out of it. But if you hover over it, it says straighten the image by drawing a line on it. This is gonna work perfectly for our horizon. What you're gonna do is you're gonna click somewhere on your horizon, click hold, and you can draw a line. And you can literally draw a line along that horizon line, okay? So I'm going to do that. I'm going to let go, and then it will straighten along that horizon. Okay, so this is what I'm looking for. Once you have it where you like it, you can hit enter, or you can hit this little check mark up top. Boom, there we go. So we've rotated our photo. We've now straightened our photo. Now I'm looking at this photo, and I need to make some changes to it as far as the coloring, the vibrance of the color on it, the contrast. You can also play around with it, see what it looks like, black and white. You can do all kinds of stuff. But what we're talking about here is we're talking about adjustment layers, okay? Now, with adjustment layers, you can find these over here on the right-hand side in the middle. You see where it says adjustments. You just need to click on where it says adjustments if it's not showing these already. But you have your adjustments over here on the right-hand side. If you're not seeing this, I recommend going up to Window, going to Workspace, and make sure that you're clicked on Essentials Default. If you are still checked on that, you don't see it, hit Reset Essentials. Okay, so I'm gonna click that right now. Basically all it does, I'm gonna move that out of the way. Okay, and there are my adjustments. Okay, I gotta move stuff around. I didn't realize I had changed so much on this. That's okay. I'm gonna move things around. I don't need so much room for my layers down there right now. There we go. So adjustments right here. I'm gonna click adjustments, and you see that I have these options here, okay? Now, what we've done previously with these is we've used this to do some color correction, and I'm gonna go through a couple of these adjustment layers so you can kind of see what they do. So the first one is your brightness and contrast, okay? Let's click that. So you have our brightness. We can turn up the brightness of our photo. I don't wanna do too much, but contrast, I love myself some contrast. Okay, so I'm gonna bump up my contrast a bit. Now, contrast again is just the difference between your light and your dark values in your photo. Okay, it kind of creates kind of a really crisp edge to the images or the subjects in your photos. So I love using brightness and contrast. Okay. Again, you can click on the little eyeball here on your layers and you can check and see, was it better before or better after this change? There we go. And I'm on to my next adjustment. So I'm going to click adjustments again. This time I'm going to go through the top here. I'm going to skip through these. I'm going to look at exposure real quick. So exposure changes the exposure of your photo. So if you had an overexposed photo, you can change that. Really, I'm not going to change a whole lot on this. I'm going to turn down gamma correction a little bit. There we go. Yeah, I'm not going to change the exposure at all. I am going to turn down that gamma correction. Okay. Once again, is it better or worse? I'm going to argue that it's better with that change. So once again, going to adjustments, we're on to the last one in that top row. It's called vibrance. If we click that, this is going to change the vibrance of the colors in your photo. So once again, vibrance, turn it up. You can see if you go all the way down, you basically get black and white, except for like the neon colors are showing up. If we go all the way up, like it brings out that color quite a bit. In fact, I kind of like where that's at. And so I'm going to bump that up. I'm going to put a 40 on that. Saturation, again, that's basically how much color shows up. And I'm not going to go crazy with it, but I am going to bump that up too. I do like the color that's coming off of the different pieces of clothing they have here. I also like what it's doing out here to the water as well, giving it more of that blue hint, that blue tone. So again, is it better or worse? We're slight changing it, but I like where it's at. So once again, we're going to go to adjustments and we're going to go to the first one in the second row. Okay, hue saturation. Now in vibrance, we already played with saturation a little bit. So I really just want to show you this one for fun. Saturation, again, you could do another layer of saturation. That looks insane. Okay, we're not doing that. I'm going to go back down to 0. Okay, lightness, again, just change the brightness of the photo. We've already played with that. And then hue is where basically you slide every color up and down the color wheel. So if I wanted to, well, that actually looks kind of neat. If I selected my background and basically just isolated that, then that might be a cool touch. I might do that a little bit later as like a stylized version of this photo, but I'm trying to do natural edits to it. So I'm going to leave that as is. If you wanted to, you could also just edit just reds, yellows, greens, cyans, blues, and magentas in the photo as well. But again, I'm going to leave that as is. In fact, I didn't do anything to it. So I'm actually going to delete this layer. If I just click on it here, hit my delete key on my keyboard, not backspace, delete. Boom, there it goes. Let's see, do we want to play with any other adjustments? Color balance, we can play with that. Again, we can change your red and cyan scale. I'm going to go a little bit more cyan to bring out that blue. Magenta green scale, I don't like that at all. I'm going to leave that at 0. And yellow blue. I feel like that's messing with skin tones a little bit too much. So I'm going to go back to 0. And if you can't quite get it to 0, you can literally click in this little spot here. You can type in 0. There you go. Adjustments, let's see. There's filters and color lookups, all kinds of nonsense here. We're not going to play with any of this other things. The only other thing that I'd argue that maybe you want to take a look at is black and white. So you can create a black and white adjustment layer here. And then what you can do is you can use these sliders to change what's showing up as black and white in your photo, or the different values of black versus white based on the colors in the photo. And there's going to be a lot of cyans and a lot of blues, so you're going to see a lot of change with this one here. So I can darken up the ocean out there. That's too much. There we go. And magenta, there's not a whole lot there. So there we go. I'm going to lose the black and white, so I'm going to just I'm going to punch it in the eye right here. Boom. And I like how this looks. Okay. Now from here, if you want to make some more edits to it as far as placement, you can use that crop tool, kind of bring things in a little bit more. To be honest, I like the framing of it. I like the rule of thirds landing on my daughter's face over here. I think it looks really good. And my son's there centered up. I kind of like it. So as far as natural edits go of this photo, what we did is we were able to rotate the image, we were able to straighten the image, we were able to do some color correction to it through some adjustment layers. I think it looks good. So we're going to export this. Again, to export it for this assignment or for photos in the future, we can do File, Export, and we're going to do Quick Export as PNG. Quick export as PNG. That's going to allow us to save the photo. And I'm going to save this photo as beach. And there it is. So there you go. We've done some natural edits. We've done some color correction. We've done some rotation, some cropping. And you're well on your way to your Photoshop review. So we'll see you next time, guys. Bye.